All right, welcome in. It is Tuesday. It's time for Total Bases, and you're all watching this on demand. We had a little issue with our video stream on the live, so we're just going to record this. You should be seeing this mid-morning as it gets up to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. So yeah, we're going to show's not going to change. We're going to get right into it. And I did tweet out, so I'll be looking at Twitter for questions. But Bryan, Leonard, I'm going to start with this game because I think we all saw it similar last night, and it did not go the way anyone planned, and that's Reds-Dodgers. Reds laid an egg last night, 7-0 loss. I think we all thought that they were maybe a little bit of value in that spot. I thought the over was in play, and I got 7 runs there from the Dodgers, yet the Reds contributed nothing. Not the only team we sort of saw fall flat in a spot where they needed a win. Now they come back. Another big game tonight. It looks like Kershaw versus Nick Martinez. Can the Reds bounce back here?
Well, we've talked about teams that need to win. And if you need to win, that means you're not that good. And that's the problem with Cincinnati. Love the team being from Cleveland. That's the team I root for in the National League. I'm in Pittsburgh, but they're falling fast. And it doesn't help that they're on the road against the Dodgers. Kershaw going against Martinez today. Kershaw is basically about a 180 favorite right now, a total of 9. If you're taking a look at offense, as in the last 2 weeks, Cincinnati has been poor. They're at 84 WRC plus, which is 24th in the league. The Dodgers number 9 at 109. Neither team really hitting great, especially Cincinnati. They're struggling a little bit, but that's the way I'm looking at this one. Is you got Nick Martinez, 4.59 ERA, 4.10 expected, 1.20 WHIP. He's deserved a little bit better than what his numbers have been this year. His career numbers after 8 seasons, 4.17. And when he's gotten hit this year, he's gotten hit hard. So he's one of those guys that is very similar to a lot of the players out there in Major League Baseball. Well, one day they look great, the next day they look terrible. And his StatCast page shows that. Really, his walk rate, 87th percentile, hard hit rate, 85th, are both impressive. He only walks 5.7%, but his chase rate, his whiff rate, and his extension are all in bottom 10. That is what has hurt him this year. Clayton Kershaw, my hat's off to him. I thought he was done last year. Comes in with an 8-2 record, 3.13 ERA, 3.96 expected, 1.20 WHIP. His is very similar. Where what he's good at, he's very good. His barrel rate, 94th percentile, ground ball rate, 86th, walk rate, 82nd, but he's got no fastball at all. He's in the 2nd percentile fastball velocity, 6th percentile of strikeouts, throws the 4 pitches, but his 4-seam only throws 35% of the time because it's only 89 miles an hour, which is 4 miles an hour less than an average left-handed pitcher. I prefer the Dodgers here, but I'm not going to lay that number. Maybe find a way to play maybe the Cincinnati team total under. But there's plenty of games on the board today. That's just my first thoughts on this one.
So everyone, it's $5 Tuesday at Wager Talk, and we are all going to have a $5 play out. Mine's up already. Free plays up as well. So go to wagertalk.com and see what these 3 marvelous cappers have to offer today. Regarding this game, pretty surprised to see the Dodgers shut down the Reds like that. But the Dodgers are hitting better than the Reds. I have the Reds in current form ranked 22, where I have the Dodgers ranked 11 in hitting. The bullpen is heavily in the Reds' favor, though. And I got these 2 pitchers ranked neck and neck. I know Nick Martinez is not as good of a pitcher as Clayton Kershaw, but Clayton Kershaw is on the tail end of his career. But as far as expected numbers and how they've been performing in current form, I have them neck and neck. I mean, no difference. Nick Martinez actually has pretty good numbers against these Dodgers batters in his history in 84 at-bats, but a lot of those numbers might have been compiled before he went to Japan and came back. So I don't know how much credence we can put in those numbers. This looks deadlocked to me. If anything, I think the Dodgers or the Reds might come back today. Clayton Kershaw is doing his rejuvenation act. He's gotten young again. Hopefully this isn't old Clayton Kershaw, who's great in the regular season and stinks in the postseason. Maybe he can get some wins in the postseason as well this year. We'll see about that. But regarding today's game, too close to call for me.
I think I'd run it right back with the over here. I see there's signs of regression for both starting pitchers. Reminds me a little bit of our conversation on Mets Phillies last night, where I thought, I couldn't quite get there with the Mets because I thought, maybe there was regression signs for both starting pitchers, and we saw a bunch of runs in that game. Kind of the same way I feel about this game. I'd love to find a way to play the Reds. I think if Kershaw and the Dodgers were to continue to take money, and suddenly I could get Reds plus 1.5 in like the minus 120 range, I might be like inclined to jump in with the Reds. But if not, then the way I would have to look at this one would be the over. You're getting the 9 flat, which is appealing, of course. If 9 is much more appealing from an over standpoint than 9.5. If both teams get to 4, you're not going to lose. So that's certainly something. It's a number. If I'm looking to play an over, you kind of like to find 8.5 or 9 if you can. I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot for overs, and you're getting that here. And then just off of a lot of what you guys have said, neither pitcher striking anyone out. Not a ton of swing and miss at either side. Dodgers offense showed up last night, put up 7 runs off Hunter Green. I can't believe that, with the total of 8, I can't believe we couldn't get one single run from the Reds. So it's like, I think that the concern going into last night's game was where the Dodgers going to come out flat, and they certainly didn't. It was an easy win for them. Even with maybe an extra day of rest, the Reds bullpen is not it has not been great this year. And we've kind of talked about the Dodgers at times struggling in that department as well. I think from more of a how they have the bullpen set up standpoint, but still they've shown the ability to give up runs. So Reds plus 1.5 if it came back in the range, but the over I think has some value here. Like even at 9, I think that may have moved. I think it was 8.5 and kind of quickly moved up to 9. I still see some value at the over of 9 in this game. So that's the way I would lean in this one. All right, I'm going to head over to Twitter. I don't even know if people have seen the tweet yet, which is fine. I'm sure they come to the YouTube channel. I was just looking over there for questions, comments, because we still want to try to run off the chat if we can. But since no one's asked for a specific game, let's go to Bryan Leonard. You were right about the Guardians last night. That was, and how about Ian Seymour finally gets his first career start, pays it off as I thought he might. No doubter for you on the Rays. Now we got another young guy that I thought pitched considerably well last week, even though the Guardians choked the game away for me at the end, and that was Parker Messick. Now, I think if you watch the start, he maybe was a little bit fortunate, with a couple base running mistakes from the Diamondbacks in that game, and he did sort of, kind of pitch his way out of a couple of jams. So now it's going to be Messick's second big league start, but his first one in front of the home fans. Do you have any faith in your Guardians here, or does the losing continue for Cleveland?
Yeah, boy. That makes it 10 games in which they've the most they scored was 5 runs. That was once. I believe they scored 4 runs once. Every other one has been worse. They've been shut out 4 or 5 times. This Cleveland Bats, we've talked about it all season, that they're not very good, and it's really showing up now that they're not going to be able to make the playoffs. It's time to bring up the young guys, and I hope Cleveland does that. Get some of these guys out of there that is not going to be a future for the Guardians. Boz going against Messick. Messick is about a 115 favorite right now, total of 8 to the under or 7.5 to the over. From my standpoint, when I look at this, Parker Messick, as you pointed out, he was a little bit lucky. He had a 1.35 ERA, 1.20 whip, but his expected ERA was 4.33. That said, if you followed my handicapping over the years, I love these unknown lefties that teams bring up, and this is the year of the lefty. It's been the big talk. I've talked about this all year long. The lefties are the guys that are having success. And so there's been value on lefties, but now everybody knows about it. So you're not going to find it like you did earlier in the season. But I love lefties when they're facing somebody who hasn't seen them before, and that's the Rays here. So I expect Messick, to have a good pitching game. Shane Baz going for Tampa. He's got the 8-10 record, 5.22 ERA, but he hasn't had any luck all season long. His expected ERA is only 3.93. His whip's a little high at 1.37. He's got a great fastball, 87th percentile, ground ball rate, 75th percentile. The only thing he struggles with is the barrel rate, only in the 15th percentile. But he's facing a team right now that's not barreling anything up. They had 2 hits yesterday from 1 to 9. This Cleveland team, there's nobody on this team that is really hitting well. They've had guys go on mini streaks, but for the most part, they are not hitting at all. So if I'm looking at this game, I think both offenses are going to continue to struggle. I would either look for the under, or I would look for a way to play maybe Tampa Bay under a little for a team total, because I think the lefty Messick is going to have some success. And the good thing is, from Cleveland's standpoint, since they're not scoring, they're not winning, so all their best bullpen arms are going to be available.
The Guardians are not a team I want to be backing right now, but I will here. Here's a statistic for you. Baz has given up 30 earned run in his last 28 innings pitched. That's not good. His saving grace is that he pitches better on the road than at home. But I think if the Guardians are going to win a game, which, look, baseball underdogs have every shot to win. Even the worst of the worst, excluding the Colorado Rockies, can win 30 to 40% of their games. Cleveland's going to win a game here eventually, and I think this will be it if they're going to. I said in yesterday's show that I don't put a lot of credence on lefty versus righty, but in this situation I do, because it's a new pitcher that the Rays haven't seen. And so in this case, I think the lefty righty thing is very relevant because it's a pitcher they haven't seen before, and he's a new guy in MLB. The Rays right now are hitting 60, and the Guardians are right now are hitting 30. So it's really hard to put faith in a team that's hitting that badly right now. But I just think either the Guardians team total over or Guardians win here would be the play. I haven't played it yet just because their batting is just so bad. But Baz given up 30 runs in his last 28 innings. You can't expect him to have a good game here, even against this offense. So if I were to bet it, that's how I would go, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I didn't, pick these games. The 2 games that I've picked so far just happen to be probably my 2 strongest totals opinions of the day. So we talked about an over in Reds Dodgers. I would go under here. I don't like either of these lineups. The Rays don't really hit either. Last night's deceiving, 14 hits, 9 runs on 14 hits, but Bibee didn't have much, and then they kind of tacked on against the back end of the Guardians bullpen. You should see much better from the Guardians here from a pitching standpoint. Even with Messick maybe being a little bit fortunate to only give up what he gave up, I think the 1 run against the Diamondbacks, I still thought he threw it well, challenged hitters. And let's be honest, the Rays lineup is not even in close to the caliber of an offensive unit that the Diamondbacks, even with the Diamondback struggles, I think that goes unnoticed at times. That's still a very good lineup, even without Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. It's still a quality lineup, and there's tough at-bats 1 through 9. Bryan made a good point last week about the team speed of that Diamondbacks team, the base running. The Rays have a little of that, but they don't pack nearly the punch that Arizona does. And so I think this is actually a far more favorable setup for Messick. He's at home. I know he's probably never pitched at Progressive Field, but Columbus is down the road, and it's like it's still a better pitching setup than having to pitch at Chase Field, which is very hitter-friendly ballpark. And the Rays have probably these guys have probably seen him limited. I'm sure there's some familiarity. Columbus and Durham do play, but they probably haven't seen a ton of him. On the other side, Shane Baz, he's my guy. I've talked about it a number of times on this show. I've always been probably higher than the market on him. And I'm still higher than the market on him, especially when I think you guys kind of both pointed out those expected ERA numbers, he's been a little bit unlucky, and that's a profile that I kind of like to try to back. If I like a guy and they've been unlucky and it looks like a spot they can have success, and who's not having success against this Guardians lineup right now. So I'll call this one under. I think it's 7.5. I think, it's another strong totals look on the board today. All right. We have so a couple things before we go on to the next game. Since everyone's going to be watching the show on demand today, because the live link was what sort of broke down, drop your comments and questions below. I know myself, I'll make sure I spend extra time in the comment section today. So if you got a comment or a question, drop it below the YouTube replay, and one of the three of us will get in and answer your questions, comments, because that is the basis of this show is interaction with the chat. And we don't have you guys today, so I'm going to spend extra time in the comment section. So again, you're going to be watching this on YouTube. Before you hit the comment section, though, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps the show tremendously. Guys, we have some comments rolling in on Twitter right now. So let's go to Colin Gregory wants to talk Padres Mariners. This was one we got right from the show yesterday. I saw some chat. I played the Royals yesterday, so clearly not a good day for me. That game was over before it even started. But one we kind of all got right yesterday was the Mariners.
Nope, not
they
me.
Came out.
You guys got it right.
Oh, okay. All right. I remember someone like the Mariners. Maybe it was Bryan, but
it was Bryan.
I know I liked the Mariners yesterday as well. It got there in the end. Big series here. I still think both of these teams have a lot to play for in their respective leagues. Obviously, both in really still in kind of hot battles for the division right now. Tonight, it's going to be Dylan Cease, and we got Luis Castillo on the mound for the Mariners. Bryan, will you go the other way here? Do you think the Padres even this series up today?
Yeah, yesterday was a dream day for not only myself and my clients, but anybody who watched the show, because it's one of those days where basically everything I had worked out well. I was Detroit was a popular play, and money was coming in against them. I've seen that many times, and of course, they leave with the Scooble pitches another really good game, and the Athletics come back late, ruined our parlay. Actually, I thought we had a winner there, but yeah, it's hopefully I can be half as good today as I was yesterday. We are looking at what game we're looking at?
Padres Mariners.
Okay, sorry. I started talking about Detroit. I thought we were going there. Cisa Castillo. Castillo is about a 115 favorite right now. Total of 7.5 to the over, 8 to the under, or even. You can get even money at the 8. I liked Seattle yesterday, and I like Dylan Cease, but he has not really had a good season. He's had terrible luck all year long. Comes in with a 4.71 ERA, 3.52 expected. Talked about that yesterday to be, basically 1.2 mile or 1.2 runs higher than what your expected ERA is. He's had some very, very bad luck. His whip's 132, and his StatCast pay shows that all of his metrics look really impressive for the most part. Whiff rate 95th percentile, strikeout rate 90th, but he's having a problem with walks, and that's something that he's walked in his career. He's got a 10.0 walk rate, which is about 1.6 better than league average. Worse than league average, higher than league average. But his walk rate's 24th percentile, barrel rate 21st, and Green Bay ground ball rate, football season, ground ball rate 22nd percentile. So he's a guy that I continue to find value on, but that expected value just hasn't come back and gotten them. And then Luis Cruz, Castillo, 3.57 ERA, 4.39 expected. So just by looking at that, your normal wise guys going to be looking at San Diego in this game. I guess I'm kind of looking the same way. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but Castillo's extensions in the first percentile, hard hit rate the 7th, barrel 14th, exit velocity 15th. And the only thing he does really well is he keeps down on walks, 6.5% for the second year in a row. I've been looking for good spots to go against Seattle and Castillo. This may be the best one out there. So you're getting San Diego, who ceases, at least to me, the much better pitcher, and you're getting them. But the only problem, you're only getting them at plus 100, plus 105. I don't know if that's enough because Seattle's so good at home. So may try to find a way of betting Seattle team total under, something to that effect. But that's the way I would look at this one at this point.
$5 Tuesday, guys. So all day on wagertalk.com, you can get our best plays for $5. So go to wagertalk.com. Mine's up already. I have a free play out as well. And these two guys certainly will have something out if they don't already. Yeah, I was the one who liked the Padres yesterday. Actually, I was off on almost everything yesterday. I liked the Nationals. They got crushed. I liked the Padres, crushed. Who else did I like that got crushed? There were two other teams that I liked that got crushed. So everything was off yesterday. But, I'm going to bet baseball almost 300 days this year, so I can deal with one bad day. I lost 2 bets, which were 2% each. So, yeah, I can deal with that. Number 1 in 2025, so I can deal with that. Regarding this one, my numbers line up again in favor of the Padres, but I have 2 big red flags. The first red flag is Cease against these batters has a pretty bad history, 268 average against and an 843 OPS. I don't like that very much. Castillo's numbers against the Padres, not much better. 280 average against and 707 OPS. His OPS is okay, but the average is a little too high. It means they're hitting a lot on him, but not scoring a lot. Not a lot of long balls. They're hitting a bunch of singles, and he's getting away with it. So these are pretty big sample sizes too. So that would make me say, oh, let's look at the over. However, San Diego's bullpen just on fire. You wouldn't think that after watching yesterday. Their bullpen just barfed on all over the field yesterday. They were horrible. San Diego had a 4-2 lead, and their bullpen just gacked it away. So their bullpen still is better than Seattle's, in my opinion. Seattle really improved their lineup at the trade deadline, though. So they have a lot of dangerous batters from 1 to 9. But still, I have San Diego ranked about 7 points higher than Seattle. And I have Cease regarding his expected numbers and current form, 3 points higher than Castillo, not a lot. The problem with Cease, as Bryan mentioned, is he walks too many guys. I have him as one of my chronic walkers on my chronic walker list. So regarding, taking him against this dangerous lineup with his bad history and he's walking too much, his command is not what it should be. I don't really want to take them today. But I don't want to take Seattle either. If anything, I would look at an over, maybe the Padres team total over perhaps in this one.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a good matchup for Cease. I know he does walk guys, but the Mariners lineup really does swing for the fences a lot of times. And it's like, if you've watched Cease over the last, well, really this season, but like since the second half or since the All-Star break, where I do think he has thrown the ball better in the second half. It's the walks that have killed him. But he's still racking up the strikeouts. So he's kind of almost been like effectively wild in some scenarios. Now, it wasn't effective against the Dodgers, of course. That was the game where he had 6 walks and couldn't get out of the 4th inning, and the Dodgers, got to him for like 3 or 4 runs. But in some of these other starts, like he wiped out the Cardinals, 5 innings, shutout innings, 9 strikeouts, 5 1/3 shutout innings against the Nats, 10 strikeouts in that one. Had a good start against the Red Sox, 2 runs over 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, still had the couple walks. Last time out against the Giants, I felt like, is a little bit deceiving, that stat line. They had a huge lead in that game. I don't know that they kind of just like, he was really strong for 5 innings, goes back out there for the 6th, gives up a couple of runs, but I think it was like 8-2 at that point. So it was almost like, all right, we'll just see if, we'll just kind of let him go and get his allotment of pitches in. When he left the game, still 7 strikeouts in line for the win. So, and then you go to the, what Bryan was talking about, expected ERA is much, lower. His expected ERA is much lower than his actual ERA. The batting average is there. He still throws 98. You would expect Cease to kind of figure it out at some point. I just feel like, and he's a veteran. It's not like we haven't seen Dylan Cease be really good for long stretches of time. So I look at him and I think it's in there. And then talk about the Padres bullpen. This is still an elite relief unit that's actually set up pretty nicely here. Whereas the Mariners have used some guys. Like there's some bullpen usage on the Mariners side, and the one guy I want no part of in this rotation really is Luis Castillo. I feel like he's the one sort of most due to get bombed at this point of the starters that they have. He probably has the worst stuff at this point. He doesn't generate a lot of swing and miss. He's giving up hard hit all over the place. So I'll actually use the Padres for my parlay leg. This might make my client card too. Like Bryan said, I think this is a really good spot for the Padres, and this is still a very good baseball team. Not going to find the Padres at this sort of price, in my opinion, very often. So, Bryan, what's the Padres money line right now?
Yeah, it's currently plus 100. A lot of the places that are the weaker books as opposed to the sharper ones, you're laying a little bit, but the sharper books here, you're getting anywhere from plus 100 to plus 104. So it evens out to about a plus 100.
Yeah, I was going to say anything in and around that even money range. Yeah. I kind of feel like Padres end up in like the minus 105, minus 110 range at some point today. I think you're going to see the market gravitate toward the Padres here. So yeah, we'll take even money there for Padres as my parlay leg. Okay. Back to Twitter. Ethan Bainbridge, one of our regulars in the chat, he is now on Twitter saying, thoughts on Nationals Yankees today. TB, I was kind of wrong on that one too. I lean toward the Nats. Thankfully, some of the other chat kind of got in my head and got me thinking, and I did kind of talk myself off of it as we were doing that on the show, Bryan Leonard. The Yankees do kind of blow out these teams, right? These bottom feeder teams. That's like, it's almost another way that the Yankees sort of like hype up their profile as a team, especially this year. And then they just go play a real team like the Red Sox and get blasted for a weekend. But there is something to that. I do feel like the Yankees typically kind of, flex at home on lesser teams like the Nationals. They've also been pretty good against left-handed pitching. So do you give the Nats much of a bump for Mackenzie Gore here, or is this going to be more Yankees in the Bronx today?
Yeah, he is one of their better pitchers, if not their best. But he has struggled a little bit, the second half of the season. Louis Heel back from injury. He comes in, and we're looking at about a 180 favorite for the Yankees here, total of 9. Mackenzie Gore on the season, 4.11 ERA, 4.21 expected, 1.35 whip. His whip has always been high. His career whip is 1.4. What he's good at, very similar to a lot of the pitchers we've talked about today. What he's good at, and when he's bad at, he's bad at. And so the strike rate, 86th percentile, whiff rate 83rd, extension 85th, but when he's getting hit hard. His barrel rate 17th percentile, hard hit rate 25th, and he's only in the 25th percentile in ground ball rate, which means fly balls. And this is not a good team to go against when you have a lot of fly balls, and it's not a good place to go against them. As I mentioned yesterday, the Yankees have got a few teams have got twice as many home runs over the Pittsburgh Pirates on the season. That's hard to believe. Even though Pittsburgh pitches in a slightly pitcher's park, it's still crazy that one lineup cannot hit home runs. Heel, 4.26 ERA, 4.88 expected, 1.68 whip. That's been his problem as his career, 1.27 whip. His strikeout numbers, if you take a look from his rookie season, now this is something that concerns me with Heel. I know he's trying to pitch differently. He's trying not to walk as many batters. But he started off in 2021 at 29.5% strikeout rate, down to 26.3, 26.8. This year, 20.0. And yet his walk rate is 15.3. It's even higher than it's been any other time in his career. Granted, small sample size. He is coming off of injury. You got to give him credit for that. But he's a guy that they're trying to get to not be so dominant on his fastball and because he's in the 78th percentile in his fastball velocity, 85th in extension, but his ground ball rate is low. So he's a guy who gives up a lot of fly balls. So we got two pitchers give up a lot of fly balls here. And that kind of points me towards the over. It opened 8.5, 20s. Now it's 9, as high as -15. But I still think that's the way I would take a look at this. The Yankees bullpen, they struggle with all year long. Washington's got the worst bullpen in baseball. So I prefer the over here, over 9. And you're getting it at -115. That's the way I would play this one.
$5 Tuesday, guys. Go to wagertalk.com, see what cappers have available for $5. Yeah, Heel is kind of an enigma because his last 2 starts, he's only given up 2 earned runs in 10 innings. And start before that, he only gave up 2. So if you look at that, you say, wow, he's not bad. But then you look at his walk ratio. He's walking almost 80% of the guys he's striking out. His expected numbers, terrible. If you include expected ERA and current form, he ranks 22 out of 30 on a curve of 30 starting pitchers. Not good. Gore started out the season on fire. He was actually like a top 10 pitcher, and then he's just fallen off a cliff. He hasn't been good lately at all. And his numbers against these Yankees in his career, 53 at-bats against, he's been tagged for a 302 average and a 928 OPS against. So this is terrible numbers. So I would look to an over here. Neither bullpen, very good. I mean, the Yankees have talent in their bullpen. They're not performing, though. I think there's a lot of guys on this Yankee roster that are feeling a little bit of pressure, which is funny because they're basically qualified for the playoffs right now. I mean, they could lose that spot, but if the Royals or Texas step their game up, they could lose that spot. But the Yankees are in playoff position right now, and they're still feeling pressure, which is kind of funny because if a team like the Guardians or the Diamondbacks were in the playoff position, they'd be celebrating. But this is what playing in New York is all about. Yeah, both teams have good hitters. I mean, I said in previous shows the Yankees are just an average team, but actually they're hitting right now. You know, Bellinger and guys besides Judge are actually hitting right now. Jazz Chisholm has put in back-to-back home run games. I would look to an over here. I haven't played it yet. You're muted, Adam.
Yeah, the dogs were barking. Sorry about that. I don't think you're wrong about the Yankees being an average team. I just think they're on one of their little upticks, and I do think there's something to, them being at home against an inferior team like the Nationals. These are games that they're probably going to win. Biggest. I hate that we all agree, but this really does feel like an over. And the reason I think that is, I think you still get some credit for Mackenzie Gore. Like, he is the Nationals ace, and I do think he gets a little bit of market love. Maybe it's not on the line here, but I think the total being 9 maybe reflects like 2 pitchers that the books feel are like a little bit above average. Because, Heel is like a tough case because, of course, he's coming off injury. When he's healthy, he can be very, very solid. He's really been pretty good since he got called back up. Since he came back from injury, he's been pretty solid. Last 3 starts, 2 earned run. He's pitched 5 or more in all 3. Hasn't given up more than 2 runs. So he's been solid. But I'll go back to something I've said all year with the Nationals. It didn't work out yesterday, but they do sort of profile as a better option against right-handed pitching. They're not a team I want against the lefty, but I like, they typically generate some offense when they go up against a right-handed starter. Now, you talked about the Yankees hitting Tokyo, Brandon. The Yankees are number 1 in Major League Baseball, WRC plus against left-handed pitching, 119. That's very good. They have killed lefties this year, and they've done it all season. So you get one again in Mackenzie Gore here, who struggled a little bit, who maybe still gets a little market respect. I think you have to look at the over because, the Nationals have nothing in that bullpen right now. There's a couple good arms that can hold their own, but like if you're looking at that collection of pitchers, it's going to get out of hand. And then you're going to start to see, like, this is the other thing you might start to see with the Nationals. They have so few arms they really trust at this point that if they do get behind, it's going to probably get out of hand because they're still going to sort of manage this to have, like, they're going to want their good arms to potentially win some games. Like, they're still, I know they're 53 and 78, but they're still trying to set up to win some games. So if they fall behind and then you go with like the 6th or 7th guy on the pecking order in that bullpen, there's going to be add-on runs, no question. And so I think over 9 makes total sense. I would have had this at 10 for a number. So I think you are getting a little line value there with the total of 9. All right, let's move on. I'm going to head back to Twitter here. Remember, we are doing this show. We had a little technical difficulty today. So if you're watching, well, you are watching on demand, drop your questions and comments in the chat. We're all going to spend more time in the chat today. So we want to make sure, that we still include you guys because we miss you here. We're on, doing this recorded. Just doesn't feel the same not having the chat going on the right-hand side. Hopefully we'll be back live tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, like we have been every day so far this season. All right, let's go back to the chat. Chat wants to talk about Angels Rangers. I have a couple of requests for this game. I personally have an opinion on this game, so I'm glad we're bringing this one up. Bryan Leonard, the Rangers, it's like I feel like they should be so far out of this race at this point, but it's almost like they either play their way back in or they lose when the other teams lose. So it's like every day I pull up the standings, I'm like, they're still only 5 games back. They've lost 2 games, yet they're still only 5 back within striking distance. At this point, the Angels have kind of played their way out of it, I would say, even with a win last night. So Angels, Rangers, couple lefties that I don't think Tokyo Brandon cares for particularly much here. Kikuchi and Patrick Corbin. And the Rangers clinging on to the slightest hopes of a playoff spot in the American League. So how are you seeing this one? Angels, Rangers, does the home team bounce back here?
Yeah, this is another one of those games that I talked about at the end of the show yesterday where I thought there was value on the dog and the Angels throw the shutout. Texas, they're not going to the playoffs. They got a 6.9% chance of making the playoffs right now. They just lost a game they needed to have with their best pitcher on them. Oh, obviously, one of the two of their 2 best pitchers because they've got a couple guys having really nice seasons. But I don't want any part of Texas. This is a team I'm looking to fade. Corbin saw better days earlier in the season than he's had now. Kikuchi's starting to get it back again. And you're getting it basically a pick-up situation. Currently, the line is the Angels minus basically 108, 110. Let's go 110, and 8.5 on the total. The Angels with Kikuchi on the mound, he's only got that 6-8 record, but 3.42 ERA, 4.39 expected. So he's been a little lucky. 1.42 WHIP isn't pretty. His extension is excellent in the 80th percentile, but other than that, there's not a lot more red on his StatCast page. A lot of blue, average exit velocity, 9th percentile. He's getting hit. He's getting hit pretty good. Patrick Corbin, 4.61 ERA, 4.66 expected. Yeah, that's about what we probably expected coming into the season after he got off to that great start of the year. 1.41 WHIP, always been a problem for him. He walks too many guys. He gives up too many. His actually walk rate is basically about league average, a little bit better, but he gives up a lot of solid hits. His fastball velocity, 12th percentile. His strike rate, 26th. Ground ball rate, 31st. So a lot of fly balls there. Basically, slider, sinker, cutter is what he goes with, but he does have 6 pitches. I kind of like the Angels here. I think the Angels, from an offensive standpoint, they're the much better hitting team. Granted, this is a ballpark that doesn't give up a lot of home runs this year, and that's a lot what they do. But the Angels have been out of it for a while, and they continue to fight. I'm not sure Texas has that fight in them again. Keep in mind, this is a team just 2 years ago went to the World Series. Disappointing season for Texas. They're not going to make the playoffs, and I think everybody knows that except for them, probably.
The Angels are extremely scrappy, man. These guys play their butts off, and they have ever for the last 3-4 years, even when Ohtani was on the team. These guys play. They got some decent bats in their lineup. I mean, I like the Ohopi guy and Ward, and I mean, they've got some decent bats. Trout as well. I mean, obviously, Trout in his prime was one of the best pure hitters in baseball, a great 5-tool guy. He's not that anymore, unfortunately, but he's still a solid hitter. So I like the Angels, how they match up in this, but I don't like their hitting. The problem is I got the Angels ranked higher than Texas at everything except run production. Now, Texas, I have them dead average at 15 out of 30 teams, but I have the Angels ranked 27, which is bad. So if the Angels can get some run production, I like them to win the game here. If you look at Corbin, how he has performed against the Angels in his career, he's got 85 at-bats against. They have crushed him. 353 average against and an 866 OPS. So, I mean, I don't know if they crushed him. They've hit him pretty good. The guys that are doing the damage, though, are not Trout and the guys you expect. It's Travis Darnold and Ward and Ohope. Yeah, Ohope has 4 for 2. So these kind of guys, if they can get their bats going in this game, I like the Angels. If they can't, I don't like anything because there's no way I would put money on Texas with Corbin on the mound right now.
Yeah, I still had my Fangraph sorter WRC Plus against left-handed pitching, and neither of these teams hit lefties particularly well. I think that's a point, I guess, to be made here. Both, if you kind of like look at the important categories against left-handed pitching, I would say both sort of hover around that bottom third of the league, right around 20 for both of those teams. So, that to me kind of leans me toward, I know I've had a lot of totals opinions here. That to me leans me toward another under, especially if you can find a 9. I don't know if there's many 9s out there, but I see some 8 even monies, which leads me to believe there's probably some 9 minus 120s out there somewhere. I think if you could get a 9, an under is a reasonable look here. I would, again, the Rangers, I kind of agree with Bryan, like it's pretty obvious that they're not a playoff team. And I go back to some of the comments that Kevin Pillar made before he retired, how it just seems like a disconnected clubhouse. Those are not really things you want to hear when you're talking about a team maybe battling their way back into a postseason race. The vibes are not high, in my opinion, in Texas right now. And they're looking for someone to put them out of their misery. Maybe that someone is the Angels, who, to your point, Tokyo Brandon, I feel like the Angels have been out since April 1st. I mean, this team is not, I thought they were one of the worst teams in the league this year. And they continue to go out there with no bullpen and lesser pitchers, and they just scratch and claw. I actually think, 62 and 69 for them right now is like a very respectable season. Even though they're not going to make the playoffs either, they've battled every step of the way, and another great effort last night to win, so I don't know that I necessarily want to bet against them either. I think if I had to play this one, I'd look for that 9 flat and go under because, I talked about the Rangers bullpen. Even though they don't really have the big time leverage guys that are like, the 8th, 9th inning guys, the bullpen as a whole has been very strong this year for the Rangers, and pitching has been very strong. So you get one of Corbin's good days where he goes 5-6, gives up 2 or 3. The Rangers will be in this game, but more importantly, I think you'll have yourself a pretty good chance to hit an under 9. So I'll look to under 9 there. All right, I'm going
to before he has to go.
Yeah, I mean, we started late, so we're still going to give you the full hour. We've got about 17 minutes left, so I think probably 2 more games. Bryan, do you want to propose a game to talk about here that you're looking at?
Go ahead. I want to take a look at this Boston-Baltimore game. Current line right here, we've got Giolito going for Boston. Kyle Bradish finally back for Baltimore. Let's hope he doesn't get hurt again before the season ends, because when he's pitching, he's been excellent. But we've got basically it's a pick'em situation right now, and I think Baltimore should probably be favored because of the pitcher with Bradish. I really like him, but it is his first start coming off of the IL. That's always a concern. But we're looking at what I'm going to use here for my parlay is the first half of this game, because I wanted the matchup of Bradish against Giolito. Giolito on the season coming in. He has a 3.72 ERA and a 1.27 whip. Whip's a little high, but the ERA looks good until you look at his expected ERA, 5.21, 1.5 runs higher than what his expected ERA is. And keep in mind, or his ERA is, and keep in mind, last year he didn't pitch, but in the last 2 years prior to that, 4.88 ERA, 4.90 ERA, and that was with 184 and 161 innings pitched. Giolito's not a guy I'm looking to back. His extension is good at 76 percentile, but everything else is in blue on the StatCast page, especially weak in certain areas. The whiff rate's not good, 27th percentile, barrel rate 25th, ground ball 26. So he gives up fly balls. And this is a park now that Baltimore has brought the fences in a little bit. I think he's going to struggle here. And Kyle Bradish, last 2 years, in 2023, he pitched 168 innings, had a 2.83 ERA, 1.04 whip. Last year, in only 39 innings because of injury, 2.75 ERA, 1.07 whip. This is a guy that is the ace of this Baltimore staff. If he is pitching Gunnar Henderson when he comes back next year, he's going to be very good as well. But this guy, Kyle Bradish, when he's healthy, he's been very good. And we'll have to see how it works out for this one. But I want no part of Giolito. The reason I'm not getting into the first 5 is because the Baltimore bullpen is in shambles right now. And the Boston bullpen is looking pretty good. So let's just make it the first 5. Let's play Baltimore first 5 minus 110 with Bradish over Giolito.
Okay. I'll be straight up with you guys. I have zero read on this game because Giolito's numbers are just all over the place. I got him ranked below average on his expected and current form, but his last few starts, he's been pretty good. But the thing is, he's all over the place. I mean, he gives up 1, then he gives up 4, then he gives up 1 again, then he gives up 3. I mean, I don't know what to expect from him. And with Bradish making his first start, I really don't know what to expect from him either. The main thing I can contribute to actionable information here would be to agree with Bryan that Boston's bullpen is really solid right now, and the Orioles bullpen is not. Both teams are hitting pretty mediocre at the moment. That's really the only input I can give on this one.
Yeah, I was just checking. It looks like the Orioles are taking some money right now, and I agree with that. They may get my money as well. This is one I kind of had circled if 3 or 4 games today that I might get to the window with. I would say as the show goes on and the morning goes on, I'm starting to get more confident in this one. And then of course, Bryan, I love that you brought it up and that you seem to like the Orioles because that's the way I was looking as well. Talk about Kyle Bradish for a minute. He's been so when guys are out for like a long period of time, typically they get a long rehab in the minors, right? And that's so Bradish missed the entire first half of the season. So his rehab has actually gone on for 6 weeks at this point or more. Like he made his first competitive outing on July 24th at high A. And so what I've noticed trying to evaluate guys that have these long rehabs at the minors, you can kind of tell when it goes, there's typically a shift when it's like, hey, just go throw the ball over the plate, throw some strikes. Don't worry about trying to get batters out. Just literally go throw strikes and we'll see what happens. To, all right, we're getting closer. Like now go like see if you can get outs and we'll have a competitive outing. And so for him, I would say that was the last 2 were almost like what I'll call the dress rehearsal type starts for him. Against Jacksonville, he was very, very good. 5 scoreless, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. I watched the Charlotte game last week. Thought he threw it fine, 4 2/3. He did give up a couple of hits, a couple of runs. Still had 3 strikeouts. The command was pretty good. So this is a scenario where I think I'm okay backing him here. Just because it's not like where I don't like betting guys off of rehab or off of minor league appearances is when like they were hurt mid-season they come back, they make like one start at AAA, and it's like, yeah, throw me back out there. That tends to be a little bit shaky. This is like he had a spring probably when his spring was probably most of July. Then he's had 6 starts at the minors. Like this is almost like opening day for Bradish. So I feel like I'm treating him more like what I would expect out of him on opening day. So I'm fine with backing him. As far as Giolito's concerned, I think I've said it on the show a couple of times. I mean, the fact that he's been able to do what he's done since about June 1st has been very impressive. That being said, I think we're starting to see like the come down a little bit. Like he had that unreal run into the All-Star break, and he's still been okay, but he hasn't been quite as sharp. And then if you go back to the beginning of the season, that was the bad Giolito that could get blown up. I still think that guy is in there somewhere, especially against the the Orioles, who I'll say this, I think I've said this probably 5 times in the past week. Where you want to bet the Orioles when they're A, at home, and when they're B, up against a right-handed pitcher. They hit righties better, and they hit better at home. And you're kind of getting that combination here. So, Brian, I do trust Bradish, and I think I'm okay with the Orioles bullpen and the way it's set up to go full game. I'm not saying that you're not right to target first 5 as well, but I do like the Orioles here, and that may be a client bet for me. Were you putting this in the parlay right here?
This will be my parlay, and it's a situation where I just think the Baltimore kept him down because they've been out of the playoffs for such a long time. They had that ability. There was no need to rush him.
Yeah.
But now they want to see what he can do. He's give him a couple of months here, and hopefully he stays healthy, and then he'll slide in as a 1 or 2 next year for the Orioles.
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, I mean, six starts at the minor league level, plus he likely had a spring in July and into the All-Star break. Like they've given him more than enough time. I think you're going to get like a pretty standard start from him here. Brian, what's the odds on that first 5 bet?
-110.
All right. So we've got 2 legs of the parlay locked in so far. Tokyo Brandon, have we talked about your leg, or do you want to throw a game out there for us to
we have not, but it's not worth covering because I'm going to cheat and take the Astros.
That's all right. It is absolutely worth covering. Hey, we're going to cover this game. We're going to cover this game because pretty much any time we've brought up the Rockies as like a massive dog, I feel like we've given out pretty solid intel. I think we do, particularly like even if you go back, there was a series where earlier this year where they played, I think was the Phillies, and we hit like every game, and we were like,
yep,
just bet the over. Like, and I think Phillies, and like you could have laddered it and it would have won. Last week, I thought we did a great job breaking that Rockies Dodgers series down. So let's give it the full rub right here. We'll go to Bryan Leonard. This is Rockies on the road at Houston tonight. If I remember correctly, these 2 teams actually played in Denver earlier this year. And for the most part, the Astros racked up a whole bunch of hits in that series. I think they may have lost one of the games, but if I remember off of memory, they had no problem hitting Rockies pitching. And, they're going to probably hit Tanner Gordon, who I think sort of Houdini hit like an unbelievable start last time. Like, I think he threw a pretty good start against the Dodgers, something you're not going to see very often from Tanner Gordon at the big league level. So Hunter Brown, Tanner Gordon, any way to go in this one other than try to find a way to play the Astros here, Brian?
I don't get involved with games this high. It's currently at 340. The total is 8 to slightly to the under here. The Road Rockies, what are they now? 16-49 on the season. So they lose 3 out of 4 on the road, which would be there may still be value on Houston because of that. The problem is Houston offense. If you take a look at WRC Plus over the last 14 days, they're 62. That is my only concern, is they're not hitting right now. I did started coming out of it for the last few days, but I won't get there, but I will root for it. Hopefully it does better than our $2 favorite we had yesterday. But
that was unbelievable.
Yeah, we didn't have much luck at the end of that one. But let's go with it. I have nothing to add.
Before everyone calls me, chicken turd for taking this, look, This is a 3-leg parlay, and we haven't won one in a while. So I am going to cheat and take this. I know it's minus 340, blah, blah. Go ahead. Money's
It might
money.
be
I want
lower
to win
than
the
that.
parlay.
Is it really
It's
up
at-
to that? Is that really what it is, Brian? Will you have a money line there?
Oh yeah, the best number out there is 324 at circa, but you're laying,
I don't care.
DraftKings, FanDuel, you're laying 360 or whatever. So yeah, 340
All
is
right.
basically it.
Sorry, but we need to win one
no.
of these.
Tokyo Brandon, talk to me about the team total. Astros team total. I know they're home, and you got to assume you're going to have to do it in 8 at bats. 4.5 on the team total seems a little bit low to me, even in that minus 135 juice. I almost think you could bet that. What do you think?
Yeah, you could. And the reason I like this is because, Gordon, his last 2 starts, he's only given up 4 earned runs in his last 2 starts, but those were at home. On the road, in his last 2 starts, he's given up 16 earned runs in his last 2, 8 earned runs per game in his last 2 on the road. That's bad. His road ERA is 13. And, granted, it's a small sample size of 12 innings, but I think the Astros bats will wake up here. And Colorado's just a terrible road team. Look, Hunter Brown has been in my top 10 pitching or top 20 pitching ranking all season long. He's a solid pitcher. And I don't think, although I actually do like the scrappiness of the Colorado Rockies, and they do have some good young players and some good veterans like Moniak, but I just think, bullpen, hitting, pitcher, I just think the Astros are too much, and Rockies just don't win on the road. So Astros it is. Yes, I'm a chicken.
I would if you don't, obviously it's fine for the parlay. I don't think anyone's going to bet a $3 favorite straight up, but I don't dislike the thought that maybe this is where the Astros break out a little bit. Tanner Gordon, I've talked about a couple of times this year, near the bottom of my rankings for AAA. So the fact that he is the fact that he has done what he's done in his last couple starts, I suppose it's impressive. The start against the Dodgers, I think, if I remember correctly, he drew the Dodgers in a spot where they couldn't have been less interested to be playing a baseball game. I think they got blown out in that game, and he kind of coasted 1 run on 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. That was a very unfocused Dodgers team in that game. I'm not going to take away, it's still not easy to do, but the Astros, I do think, are going to be far more focused than LA was in that game. And, what better for an offense that has been struggling, what better chance to take advantage of, to try to maybe run it up a little bit and get your mojo back than the Rockies, right? And Tanner Gordon. If they can get to him early and they can put a crooked number up there early, they're going to have no problem getting to 5 runs in this game. Not my usual style, but I really think there's going to be some offense for Houston here. Sorry, Brian, were you going to add something there?
Yeah, I've got to run. We've got off to a late start here today. So can we go over the price of the parlay before I run out?
Yep, that is we are at the hour mark, so we are going to wrap it up. 3-teamer today. We have we have a first 5 and 2 full games. Tokyo Brandon's going with the Astros. We have the Padres for me. What's the number on the Padres? Is that plus money now?
Baltimore's minus 110 first half.
All right, so we have, and that minus 110 is a first 5 bet. So we have Orioles for Bryan Leonard, first 5 minus 110. I'll be on the Padres money line. Tokyo Brandon on the Astros, and that 3-teamer is plus 394. So Orioles first 5, Padres money line, Astros money line. It's a 3-teamer plus 394. We will hopefully be back live tomorrow morning at the usual time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Sorry about the technical difficulties today. Appreciate you tuning in on demand. $5 Tuesday at Wager Talk. Everyone's got to play up for $5, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.